Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another TTI, as known as True Temperance International Family Health Show. So it's been a while. It's I think about three weeks since we've been on. So it's a pleasure to be here with you all. So I do welcome each and every one of you on Zoom and also on YouTube, our YouTube family. So today, as we let's say kick off the summer, it will be with Joan, and her topic is about our feet and are they used just for walking? So very interesting. So I look forward to hearing what Joan has to say. So before we go into the presentation, I'm just going to do the disclaimer, just the usual things that we do at the beginning beforehand. So we're still on our season 4, Remedies from Heaven. Okay, so our recent shows. So we've had Mission Possible with, I always say her name wrong, Arena, I think, or I always say her name wrong, but it was with Arena, that's it, Arena, Mission Possible. So she had an interview with Shannon Edgar. Then it was Let's Talk. So it was TTI talking with yourselves about health. Then we had Sharon Wallace, The Seed of Life, and she was talking about like planting a seed, but she actually did it as like a twist. So it wasn't just what seeds are good for, but also when you sow seeds. So it was very good, actually, The Seed of Life. And also with Sonia Barnes, Nurture and Nourish Your Night. So these were the recent shows. And if you missed any of them, they are on our YouTube channel at True Temperance International. So as I said, this week will be with Joan. Are our feet created just for walking? So there's a quote there, Isaiah 52 verse 7, how beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news. So we'll hear this shortly. So our disclaimer, so only a professional health practitioner can diagnose or treat medical conditions. Any information discussed on the True Temperance International Health Show is for educational and informational purposes only. Please continue to seek professional medical advice from your GP or health practitioner regarding any disease you may be suffering from. Right, and we also have great news. So for those who did come and may want to rewatch, and for those who wasn't able to be there last year at the Come Apart and Rest a While Health Conference, we have some of the videos on our YouTube channel. Not TTI's YouTube and not AHR's YouTube, but one called Come Apart and Rest. So if you find that on YouTube, you'll see the videos and some of the interviews from the presenters on that channel. So please subscribe to get notified as more recordings become available. So as I said, we have interviews with some of the presenters and the representatives of the organizing team on there. And then you are invited to our second health conference, and please book as soon as possible. There have been disappointments so far because the caravans are fully booked. Some of the en-suites, there are a few left, and there's some left, and there's a few of the en-suites left. So please book to avoid disappointment, but come and revive, rejuvenate, and reform. With some of the presenters that's on the screen now, and there are more. So these are just some of the photos of what happened last year. So we had exercise at 6:15 to 6:50 in the morning. So early morning exercise and some of the circuit training. We had plant-based meals done there. So as you can see, the lovely food and the salad bar and the vegetables and so forth. So we do have plant-based cooking again with Golden Palms with Alvin and Louise McQueen for this year. And then the cooking demonstrations, as they're the chefs for this year, hopefully they'll be for the cooking demos as well. If not, it'll be split between themselves and other trainers, when it comes to cooking demos. But as you can see, lovely plates of food and people enjoying it. So we have our crew here. We always call them the Hackney crew. They thoroughly enjoyed it, and we'll be seeing them again this year. Come apart and rest a while 2023, revive, rejuvenate, and reform. So please book, as I said, to avoid disappointment. Okay, and for any information regarding Kef and Lee, some of the YouTube videos and recipes, please visit the website at www.ttinternational.org. And also, if you're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, please follow us on there. And also on our Telegram groups. So we have one for men, one for women, and one for spiritual health, which I will try and place in the chat on Zoom. And I think that is it. Yes, it is. So what we're going to do now, if Mommy Joan is ready, it will be handed over to her.
Hi, everyone. How are you? And thank you very much, Shirley. And I hope you can see me. It's not too dark. Good.
Yeah, perfect.
And hello, everyone. It's nice to be here on the TTI show. It's been a while. And I think the last time I presented was last year. And last year I was talking about something called the necessity of touch, in which I talked about and shared information regarding the importance of contact, human to human contact. And at that point in time, when I gave the presentation, if the mics can be muted, at the time when I gave the presentation, we were just coming out of the pandemic. And therefore, I don't believe that we appreciated how much we enjoyed human interaction until it was taken away or restricted. And we realized how many people suffered as a result of it mentally, unfortunately, some physically, without having someone who was there either to hold their hand or even to offer some sort of therapy. And I did promise at the time that I would actually do a follow-up presentation on something to do with the power of touch as it pertains to massage or some sort of therapeutic intervention using hands. And so today I'm going to be giving you an interesting topic. I know it's interesting. And I'm going to put my glasses on for this one. So it's an interesting topic because I actually said the title I chose was, are our feet just made for walking? And I suppose some of you have already answered that question, but I'm going to show you some evidence as to why our feet are not just these two things that are tagged onto the end of our body that we pay no particular attention to, and but we depend on it every single second, every single minute of the day. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully I can get in. Let me just do something here. Okay, can you see my screen? Anyone?
Yes.
Lovely, thank you so much, thank you. Okay then, so are our feet created just for walking? What our feet can tell us about our health, And so I know you mentioned the disclaimer from TTI, and let me just see. Okay, I wanted to make sure is that we are muted. So I know that Shirlene went through the disclaimer for TTI, but I'm just going to repeat the disclaimer. And that is the contents of this presentation are for educational purposes only. The presenter is using their own experience as well as research information to educate the audience. You're encouraged to do your own research on this topic also. Please, please, please do not just accept what I am telling you. Try to see if you can do your own research, which is what I've done. If you are under the care of a physician, please continue to seek advice for your continued healthcare needs before embarking on any remedies that may have been highlighted in part or in whole. So let's look at this. Our feet play a huge role in our overall stability as we plant our body weight on them every day. When a small problem develops in your feet, it can have a wide-reaching consequence for your overall posture. Small changes can cause a chain reaction throughout the body and can affect not only your knees and ankles, but your hips and back. If you carry a lot of weight, please remember that your feet does not grow according to the size of your additional kilos. So the more weight you put on is the more pressure it is on your feet. So please remember that. Walking with exercise to your feet, and is also good for your overall health. It also contributes to your general health by improving circulation, contributing to weight control, and promoting all-round well-being. Walking is often more beneficial to health than all the medicine that can be prescribed. It brings all the muscles into exercise, and the lungs are also forced into action, and that comes from the pen of inspiration. So please remember that walking is the best exercise for your feet. It doesn't say jogging, it says actually walking. Now listen, your feet mirror your general health. There is a saying called, healthy feet, healthy body. Perfect feet, perfect body. Such conditions like arthritis, can you hear me? I'm frozen. Am I frozen on the screen?
I can hear you.
But can you see my slides?
It's on a play button.
Okay, I'm going to continue. So such conditions as arthritis, diabetes, nerve and circulatory disorders can show their initial symptoms in the feet. So foot ailments can be your first sign of more serious medical problems. And I wanted to repeat this section that I've just mentioned. Your feet mirror your general health. Such conditions as arthritis, diabetes, nerve and circulatory disorders can show their initial symptoms in the feet. So this is why our feet is the window or mirrors the health condition or the health condition of our body. And that is why it's important. So many of us, maybe some of us are therapists, some of you might be medical missionaries, of course, doctors, nurses, etc. And I know that since I have realized the importance of feet, especially in the work that I do, which is as a massage therapist and a foot massage therapist, the feet can tell quite a bit of a story about what is taking place. And sometimes the best way to know if someone is in good health, look at their feet. Try to look at their feet and see what's going on. The human foot comprises 26 bones, 33 joints, which are all connected by a plethora of ligaments. And the average person takes between 3,000 to 4,000 steps per day. So there are approximately over 7,200 nerve endings in each foot. So I'm not saying in the feet. We have approximately over 7,200 nerve endings in each foot. So there are more nerve endings per square centimeter in the foot than any other part of the body. How many of us knew that? That is so astounding, is it not? 7,200 nerve endings in each foot, and there are more nerve endings per square centimeter in the foot than any other part of the body. So there are about 250,000 sweat glands in the feet, and so the average person may lose about a cup of moisture a day through the feet. So the skin on our feet, and just remember that the skin on our feet is quite thick, especially around the heel. It contains extensive network of nerve endings and touch receptors, which make them sensitive to many different kinds of stimuli, such as pressure, temperature, vibrations, pain. A series of nerve impulses is triggered and transmitted to your brain. So remember, there is transmission taking place when you're standing, when you're walking, whatever you're doing with your feet, there are a series of nerve impulses that is triggered and transmitted to our brain. So when standing and walking, the sole of your foot is the only part of your body in touch with the ground. So you may get up out of bed, and the first thing you do, your feet touches the ground, the soles of your feet touch your bedroom floor. You'll get up, you'll walk to the shower, you'll walk to the bathroom, you'll then get dressed, you may be sitting, but your feet is stable. Then you're going to the kitchen, you're walking around with your feet, you're going to be making breakfast, and everything we do depends on our feet, depends on our stability. That is what happens. So standing may seem like it's a simple task, but our nerves are relaying so many different impulses just to keep us upright. It's this continuous feedback system between the soles of our feet up to our brain, and then signals back to the muscles, which are constantly detecting minute changes that allows us even to stay balanced. And we take it for granted. We stand up and we stay standing. And do you know, it actually takes more nerves or muscles to stay standing than it is to be moving. This remarkable nerve network is constantly transmitting this information, and it takes just milliseconds for the impulses from your feet to reach your brain, and for your brain to respond by making adjustments to muscles in your legs, back, and arms. And I'm going back to the network, this nerve network that is continually transmitting information. And I know that there are people who may suffer from dementia, they suffer from Parkinson's, they suffer from Alzheimer's. And I don't know if you've watched anyone that, have these issues. They stumble. They may stumble. They may tilt a little when they're walking. It looks as if they're tripping, but they're not tripping. They don't fall over, but they may trip. Why is that? It's because there is some sort of a disturbance in that network from the brain to the feet that actually stops the communication. And this is why they may stumble. I know maybe some of you have seen that. I've certainly seen that. And when I've noticed, if someone gets up and then they kind of stumble, but they don't fall over, what's happening is that network, that kind of transmission is broken. The same way as someone who is inebriated, maybe they've had a lot to drink, and then they can't walk in a straight line anymore. Again, there is some sort of a disturbance between the transmission from the brain to the feet. Why? Because when they drink a lot of alcohol, some of you may not know this, when they drink a lot of alcohol, they're depleting their B vitamins. They're depleting their B vitamins, especially the one that for the brain, and therefore they may be tripping over, falling over. And that is why sometimes when the law enforcement stops them, maybe they're being drink driving, they will ask them to take a breathalyzer. But also, I know some of them will say, I want you to try and walk in a straight line, and they can't possibly do that. And that's how they know. Okay. So nerve endings in the feet can form crystal-like or rice grain substances called uric acid crystals, which when detected on specific areas of the feet by a qualified therapist can be massaged away and dissolved, relieving congestion to the nerve ending and thus the related organ of the body. Many of you may not know this. As these areas are worked, a client may experience a slight tenderness or subtle burning sensation as these crystal deposits are breaking up. Discomfort should subside almost as fast as it comes. So breaking up these congested areas allows the body to disperse them, helping in the removal of excess waste in the body that has settled in the feet via gravity. It is necessary that we keep the chemical balance of our bloodstream normal and free from crystalline deposits, so the feet will have no serious stories to tell. We are all familiar with what the effect of sand or gravel would be in a garden hose. Yet we expect our body to function properly regardless of obstructions in the delicate nerve endings. And I wanted to bring to your attention, I remember when I was conducting massage therapy, and this person that I was massaging, when I was massaging them on the base of their feet, they told me what ailment they had. And when I massaged them on the base of their feet, and especially in the line of therapy that I do, I felt like a crystal-like, like almost like a rice grain, a tiny rice grain in that particular area of the foot. And when I started massaging it and pressing down with my thumb on it, I started to dissolve that crystal. This person told me that they felt relief from just that pressure on that, when I was massaging away that crystal. And I've learned to understand how important the feet are when it comes to therapy. You may have someone called a lymphatic drainage specialist. And I don't know if you know what that means, but our lymphatic system does not drain naturally. It does not drain naturally. And so we may have to do some jumping, you go on the little rebounder. You may ask for some massage. You may have a lymphatic drainage specialist, because you start to get lumps and bumps if your lymphatic system is not working correctly. So it's the same kind of thing. You are kind of massaging in a gentle way when it pertains to the lymphatic specialist. You're massaging away and trying to drain that lymphatic system. And with the feet, I should say, the same thing. When you become accustomed to the feet as a therapist, and you start to feel this crystallized formation in the base of the feet, then you get used to knowing it and you start to massage it away. So the question is, I suppose, if there are nerve endings in your feet, and if your feet has 7,200 nerve endings in each foot, if there is an end, there must be a beginning. And of course, the nervous system begins from the brain, and then it works all the way down to the end of your body. And what is at the end of your body? Your feet, which is why we can tell what is taking place with someone who has high blood pressure, someone has gout. So there are many, many diseases that you can tell from just looking at the feet what is actually taking place. And I have to say amen to that, to our Lord and Savior, because sometimes we forget that the body is a complete structure and God does not make mistakes. And so in my line of work, and I have a colleague that's going to be coming on and giving a testimonial, in my line of work, I have seen how amazing the body that God has given us is. And he's given everything to us, and all we need are our hands in order to help someone else. That is what I'm saying, along with the natural remedies. You all know where I'm coming from. So there is something called grounding. And if I ask anyone the question, when was the last time you found yourself out in nature and grounded yourself? Grounding, which is also known as earthing, is a therapeutic technique based on the belief that by allowing our skin to come into direct contact with the earth, be it dirt, rock, the sea, river water, we are literally grounding ourselves, electrically connecting or reconnecting with the earth by soaking up its negative charge to help us rebalance. We can probably all recall a time we spent in nature that left us feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and relaxed. I know for sure that when some of you know, went on a long break, Earl and I have to say, when I went into the sea, and the sea has natural salt, when I went into the sea, oh my goodness, I absolutely felt fantastic. It was very refreshing, rejuvenating, and I felt connected, and I wanted to go back in again. So different, and I'm sure many of you can recall that when you've gone on holiday, or you're blessed enough to be living somewhere where you have close access to the sea, or to the woods, trees, etc., or even river. So chronic fatigue is something that many people suffers from, but there was a study that took place on massage therapists, and many reported a decrease in their fatigue levels when they were grounded after 4 weeks. It helps with chronic pain. Exercise recovery is far better if someone's in pain. Anxiety and depression, let's face it, when we've just come out of a lockdown. It's almost 2 years of lockdown, and if you remember what took place during that time, you can't go to the seaside, you can't go to the parks, you can't go to particular places, you can't walk in the sand. And many people became anxious, many people became depressed. They felt as if they were away from something where they should have felt connected to. Absolutely. We should at least try to find ourselves in nature. And there's something to be said when in the Pen of Inspiration says it's good to be out in the countryside and at times, because that's when you feel grounded. That's when you feel like your best. That's when you feel as if you're in connection. Every cell of your body feels good. You feel rejuvenated. You feel relaxed. And I'm sure, I can't see anyone, but I'm sure people are nodding their head and agreeing with me. It's absolutely so important that we try to, sometimes, it doesn't matter, take your shoe off and try to put your feet on grass, put your feet in the sand, put yourself in seawater, put your feet in river water, and try to ground yourself. I mean, if you don't have access to those things and you're living in a complex city environment, then if you do have access to a bathtub, then fill it with water, and then you can actually put some salt in it, Epsom salt or sea salt. You can ground yourself in that way. If you don't have a bathtub, you can still ground yourself if you just have a basin of hot water and you just put some salt in there and place your feet in there, and you can absolutely feel grounded. And actually, when you put your feet in water, 100 times all day long, you're going to feel so much better. You feel as if you've given your whole body a relaxing bath, simply because, like I said, there are more nerve endings in your feet than anywhere else in your body. That is exactly the way God made us. Grounding helps with sleep disorders. Absolutely. It reduces the sleep disturbances you may have. And absolutely grounding is good for cardiovascular disease. And you can find many studies online where grounding has been quite effective. Signs you are not grounded? Well, you are easily distracted. You're feeling spaced out, regularly overthinking, ruminating, or get stuck in your head, engaged in personal dramas, experiencing anxiety, perpetual worrying, constant need and desire for material things, possessions, being easily deceived, being obsessed with personal image. And these are the signs you are not grounded. Have you ever heard the saying, oh, she's grounded, she's definitely grounded, or he's definitely grounded? That is exactly what it means. That is exactly what it means. And we are exposed to so many electromagnetic fields in our homes. You know, I'm on a laptop right now. We have our phones, we have the laptops, and we are surrounded by so many EMFs, electromagnetic fields. So it's important to make sure that we can ground ourselves, i.e. connect your feet to grass, to dirt. Even gardening is the type of reconnection. Get the dirt under your fingernails and those kind of things. Your body will love you for it because it builds your immune system. That's what it does. Okay. So I mentioned some other grounding methods, like I said, walking on the sand, walking on the beach, immersing yourself in the sea with its natural salt. And if you don't have access, I did mention before, you can give yourself a nice foot bath with salt in it. Give yourself a bath if you have salt in, if you have access to a bathtub. The important thing to remember is that because our feet, all the nerve endings are in our feet. It's important to look after our feet, but it's also important to understand that it means that we are a connected system from the brain all the way down to our tippy toes. We are a connected system, and we must never, ever see the feet as a separate entity at all. So I'm going to just, before I go on to talking about some of the diseases that can be identified in the feet before it goes on to something more serious, I just wanted to talk about the barefoot facts. So the big toe requires 20 degrees of extension for normal forward motion. And often this is restricted in stiff-soled shoes. We must make sure that our shoes fit well. But more importantly, you must make sure that your feet, your toes are not squished together in your shoes. Try to make sure that your shoes are shoes where your feet sits comfortably, especially your toes, but especially your big toe. A lot of shoes have a smaller shoe box, squishing the toes together and decreasing the base of support. Crowding of the toes can cause toe joint deformities. The heels of shoes usually have an elevated platform, which can lead to the shortening of the calf muscles. The elevated heel causes more pressure on the forefoot and can lead to permanent hyperextension of the MTP joints. You must make sure that your shoes fit well. We're in a modern society, you know, we like pretty shoes, you know, the shoes with the pointed toes. It's a no-no. Let's try our best not to do that. Footwear has become advanced, and it's important to stay grounded, incorporating foot to ground contact. A lot of athletes are now doing barefoot exercises and barefoot running because they realize that it increases their muscle strength and endurance and stability. And that's while they're training. Then you have indigenous people. Many of them go barefoot. We saw a lot of people going barefoot. They have shoes, but they prefer to go barefoot. And, some of them are like as strong as an ox, So it's nice for us to do that. When you look at babies, as soon as babies learn to to what do they do? Many of them, they like to take off their socks and take off their shoes and run around barefoot, don't they? That's what babies do. It seems to be like a natural instinct. But there's something about smelly feet. You know, if I smell feet, do you know that if we close up our feet in shoes all the time, it doesn't see the sun and doesn't see the air, we're more likely to have fungal nails, toenails, and sweaty, smelly feet. So that's why it's important. It's nice to get it out there in the sun and the air, because it will help to disintegrate a lot of the bacteria that is found in the feet. So what I'm going to do is just go through some of the diseases that we can recognize in the next few slides. And so here, this one, if you notice a change in the shape of your toenails and fingernails to the point that they are clubbed, you might have lung disease. Now, some of you may say, oh, please, that's absolute rubbish. That can't be. Remember what I said in my earlier slides. You know, our feet mirrors the health condition of our body. Now, this one was a bit of a shock to me. And the reason why is because I remember a while back, someone had these kind of toenails. And do you know that they were diagnosed with sarcoidosis? That's why it shocked me when I was doing my research. I said, oh my goodness, I missed that. All right. So this is possible lung disease when you have clubbed toenails. Okay. Clubbed toenails. Right. The next one. I'm sure some of us recognize this. This is gout. This is gout, a type of painful inflammatory arthritis caused by too much uric acid in the blood. And I remember in my earlier slide, I mentioned uric acid crystals. And this is Dr. Neville who's explaining this. So TOPHI, T-O-P-H-I, which are uric acid crystal deposits that look like lumps under the skin. They commonly develop in the feet, although they can also be found in joints throughout the body. So many people who suffer from arthritis, you'll find this crystallized uric acid in their joints, So in many cases, gout can be managed by standard therapies and lifestyle changes. However, some people suffer from uncontrolled gout, which can cause long-term damage. And we know that if you make lifestyle changes, you actually reduce your tendency to gout by making some simple lifestyle changes. It's not just meat. There are other things that you may have to avoid in your diet in order to let gout dissipate or disappear, or you won't be getting gout. So that is gout, and that's one way of telling. Some people that's on the side of their foot, but actually you can also get it in your toes. You can have a gout in your toe. Okay, so the next one here is you see this lovely feet in front of you. Restless feet and legs at night is often a signal that you have iron deficiency, says Ariel Leviton, who is a medical doctor and physician of internal medicine. So if you have restless feet and legs at night, it could be often a signal that you have iron deficiency, and I should say, and or mineral deficiency. So it's important, if you have restless legs, a simple blood test can ascertain, how deficient you are, if you are anemic, or if you have mineral deficiency. Now, if you're someone who suffers with cold feet and cold hands, Dr. Platt says that the cause of cold feet is excess adrenaline, which is a survival hormone. I'm sure all of us know that. So part of this response includes the cutoff of circulation to areas of the body not needed for survival. So Platt adds that cold feet and hands can also be caused by irritable bowel syndrome and underactive thyroid. So again, get it checked out. If you're someone who suffers from cold feet all the time, or cold hands, especially the feet, it means that you may have, excess adrenaline, just excess adrenaline in the blood. Okay. And you see this person has cracked heels. They've got cracked heels. You see on the back of their foot or their heel. One foot symptom that is linked to the health of your thyroid is cracked heels. The skin that is cracked over the heels is a classic sign of an underactive thyroid. And then, of course, with an underactive thyroid, it's weight gain, depression, muscle aches, and fatigue. But I'm talking about the feet. So if you find that at the back of your heels, on the back of your foot or on your heels, you've got cracked heels, again, please try to see if you can just have a word with your physician, and so they can do a simple blood test for you. And I'm sure many of us have seen this already. High blood pressure forces your heart to work overtime, and this effort can cause the muscle to thereby become less effective at circulating your blood. As a result, fluid builds up in the lower legs and ankles, causing them to become swollen. So don't write off that swelling as foot specific. So make sure that if you, all of a sudden, you have swollen feet, you have swollen ankles, and I'm not talking about maybe a lady who is pregnant, I'm talking about, the majority of us, if you notice that you have swollen feet and ankles, or you notice someone else has swollen feet and ankles, then you just start to ask them a few questions. If you know that they are suffering from high blood pressure, there's an indication that maybe their heart is under pressure, and there are circulatory issues. Also, it might be a sign that there's some sort of a kidney issue going on as well, because that can show up as swollen feet and ankles, because your circulatory system is not working effectively enough. And I've seen swollen feet and ankles in quite a number of people. And of course, many of them are on medication, and sometimes the medication can also cause that. So it's always good to have a word with your doctor. If you're taking high blood pressure medication and you're finding that it's your feet and your ankles are getting even more swollen, or it was never swollen before, it's getting more swollen, then have a word with your physician, because maybe it's the medication that might be a bit too strong for you. And the next one, these lovely thick yellow toenails, is usually a sign of fungal nail infection, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And so the infection usually isn't painful unless it becomes severe. And so it's very, very difficult to treat fungal nail infections. But, sometimes what you can do, if you do have a fungus in your nail, under your nail, you can get a good bottle of apple cider vinegar, and you can put at least 3 tablespoons in hot water and soak your feet in them. And I know that there are a few people that have done that and actually gets rid of the fungus. So that's another way of treating it. But another way to look at it, are you suffering from very, very sweaty feet? It's possible that you're suffering from very sweaty feet. Maybe it's you're clumping, all your feet are clumped together in a very thick sock. It's not getting air, not getting fresh air, not getting any sun. So always think about what's happening. Why am I getting continual fungal infection? So it's worth asking questions about that. And, your doctor, when you visit them, maybe they'll give you some oral antifungal pills. And then there are other ways of treating it. So I've gone through some of them, but do you know there are many, many, many more diseases that can be shown through your feet? And I didn't want to weary you all, because I just didn't want to keep going from slide after slide after slide. But like I said before, do your research, look after your feet. Let's look after our feet. Let's make sure that we can massage them ourselves. You've had a hard day at work, you come home, you can actually give yourself a self massage on your feet and try to reduce the amount of pain or inflammation or discomfort, and give yourself a lovely foot bath. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we lead such busy lives. We have no time to look after ourselves. But like I said, our feet carries most of the nerve endings. The majority of the nerve endings per square centimeter is found in the feet. Let's look after our feet. God did not make our feet separate from our body at all. There is a reason why we have our feet, and it has stories to tell, and it can certainly tell us when something is wrong. And as a therapist, when we're doing a foot massage, when we're doing full body massage, we must always look at the feet, because the feet can tell us what is actually happening with that person. And so there are a number of therapies involving the feet. Some of you may have, had a foot bath. If you've got a headache, you've had a headache, or you did have a headache in the past, and I'm sure maybe someone advised you to get a bowl of hot water, place your feet in the water, and then a cold rag on your head, which actually relieves the congestion that is taking place in your head. You can get relief from that. If you've had a liver fermentation, you may have had a liver fermentation, and your feet are placed in a basin of hot water on a table, on a massage couch. And so as you're receiving that fermentation, the fermentation, for some of you who don't know, is a hot towel application to your liver, which helps to detoxify and kickstart your liver. And then your feet is placed in this bowl of hot water with maybe ginger in there and some other herbs in there. And what it's doing is just making that continual circulation throughout your body so that the treatment works effectively. I don't know if many of you can think of other therapies to the feet. Like I said, there's massage therapy, there's foot massage therapy. There are many therapies to the feet where you can enjoy warming your feet in a basin of hot water. There's something here by Dr. Walter, and it's taken from a book, a fantastic book called Human Life, Its Philosophy and Its Law. It's a beautiful book, I'm telling you. It's got a lot of information in there that tells us how God created this body and how it should be working. And if we do the right things, how it can work for us and we can have longevity. So keep the feet warm is a prescription of universal application, said Dr. Walter. By keeping the feet warm, the whole surface is correspondingly warmed, and the circle of circulation enlarged, and the labor of the heart correspondingly reduced. So keep your feet warm. I know that I've said to people with high blood pressure, wear your socks at night when you go to bed. And some people say to me, I can't do that. My feet get too hot, it's uncomfortable. But the reason why you do that is so that when you keep your feet warm, you are reducing the pressure on your heart. And remember, when you suffer from high blood pressure, you already have pressure on your heart, which is why keeping your feet covered at night will absolutely help you, especially if you've got high blood pressure. You know, we know what happens in the winter when our feet aren't warm. It's cold, the whole of our body's cold. If we step in cold water, you know, we feel chilled, we chill our kidneys, we want to pee more often. You know, so this tells you that there are so many nerve endings in your feet that absolutely reacts to sensory objects or anything that you place your feet in or on. All right. When we're very, very hot on a hot day, what do some of us do? We actually just put our feet in cold water and our whole body feels cooler, does it not? So our feet controls body temperature too. All right. So at this juncture, what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask let me just check if she is on, first of all. And then I'm going to ask one of my dear friends and colleagues to actually talk more about, is she on? Shirley, can you see her?
I was trying to find like the spelling of her name, but I'm not sure. I don't think she is. I'm not sure. Not have to say her name and see if she's.
Let me just see. Okay. All right. Sunita, are you on the platform? No, not yet. Okay. So at this point, I think what I'll do is I'll take some questions, Shirley, if there are any. And then I'm hoping that she will join us.
The other thing we could do though, Joan, is if you wish to give her a call, we could just run through the promo slides whilst you're calling her.
Okay.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Sunita.
Yeah, it's Sarita, yes.
Yes, Sarita. 1 minute, Sarita. I will make you co-host. Let me try and find you.
I've done it, Joan, I think.
Okay.
You have, yes. It's done.
All right. Hi, Sarita.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Okay, so Sarita is also a massage therapist, and she is going to kind of talk us through the importance of our feet when it comes to offering therapy. And Sarita, I'm going to ask you if you can just share some of your testimonials regarding that, if you could.
Okay. Good afternoon, all. It's a pleasure to be on TTI. I listen now and then, and I find it fascinating. Well, I've been working on feet as well as the rest of the body for about 25 years. And how I got involved in it, I was very unwell. And a friend of mine said if I come along to a class, I could be a guinea pig and they'd work on me. So I went along with her and they worked on my hand and my feet at the same time. And after the treatment, I was sick for about 3 days. And then a friend came round and visited me and said, "What have you done?" And I said, "Why?" He goes, "You look completely different," because he knew that I wasn't well. And I did feel much better. And I said, "I've got to go and learn it." So that's what I did. And I thank God. I wasn't a Christian quite then. Then I became a Christian. And I thank God, because we know that we can't really heal anybody ourselves. And he's been good to me because I've helped quite a lot of people with the aid of God being with me. There's 4 people that I helped to get pregnant. One had HPV because I work with the oils as well, because I'm an aromatherapist. And she was very pleased and she recommended me to someone else. I worked on her about 8 times, but it seemed like there was no result. So I said, "I don't think it's going to work on you." And then about a month later, she rang me and said that she was having a baby. And another person who had small pituitary gland who couldn't get pregnant, but she was a case history, and I was just working on her for, I think I had to give like 10 treatments. And like about the 7th treatment, she said she's expecting a baby. I said, "Are you?" Because to tell you the truth, she was one of the first. I didn't really think it would be quite as effective as it is. And since then, I helped her to conceive. And then when she was going into labor, I went there and was working quite all night, working on the points that helped to release the baby. And I said, oh, I don't think it's going to have any effect. And as I was walking out on the grounds, her husband ran and called me and said, oh, she's having the baby, but I couldn't go back in. And I was pleased with that. My daughter-in-law, when she was going into labour, I helped her and it made the baby come really quick. I've had a lot of success with sciatica and shoulder pain. Numerous things the Lord has blessed me that I can help other people. And everything that Joan said, I agree with what she said, because the feet can work on every area of the body. Now, how I do it, I always do a case history, a huge case history, and I have like a grid where every week or every time I see the person, it's not always the same points that attend us, so I log them down. Then you can look back through all your case histories and like where you log where's tender this week, and you can, after a while, you get to notice where you would work on the person, and it's very successful. One thing when I learned, it was a German teacher, and we had to know the anatomy and physiology of the body inside out. That
Sorry, excuse me, Sarita.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. There's just been a couple of requests on YouTube and on Zoom. Is it possible for you to switch your camera on?
No.
No? Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So we was told, and I believe it works. It has an affinity to the nervous and the endocrine system because they're messengers of the body, and it works by making the circulation run more freely and rid the body of waste that is building up, and as well as it helps the lymphatic system as well. So I know how to do lymphatic massage.
Thank you, Sarita. I mean, and Sarita,
yeah,
I know that someone asked if you could put your camera on, but
yeah.
if Sarita, we can't force anyone to put their camera on. So I'm hoping, but I know what Sarita actually looks like, and I can assure you it's a human being that is speaking to us. There's one thing that Sarita mentioned, and I actually forgot to mention this. And I was massaging someone who on their feet who was suffering back pain, severe back pain. And I remember when I took their feet, and as I massaged, and when I went to the ball of the foot, and I pressed my thumb in and I'm massaging, they jumped. And I says, what happened? And it says, it felt like a jolt had gone all the way up their leg into their back. So I knew that this area was tender, and I spent time massaging that area. And actually, they received great comfort from it. I should also mention that when we massage, and certainly for those of you who might be online right now and you've received a massage therapy from me, you notice that I always start with the feet. And the reason why I start with the feet is because I remember when someone, she had MS, and someone had asked me if I would come to the home and massage them. And they says, Joan, good luck. You'll never get them to relax on that table at all. They're nervous. They're a nervous wreck. Yeah, they're restless. There's no way you can do it. And so what I did, I started with the feet and massaged the feet gently. And they were calm and they were relaxed. And in fact, they started to fall asleep. And this is why I know that the feet contains enough nerve endings to relax someone. They didn't feel ticklish. I know someone mentioned, is that why your feet are ticklish because of all the nerve endings? No, they actually relaxed after I had massaged them. And I see a question in the chat where it says, what does the spirit of prophecy say about the feet and its connection to the body organs? But I don't know at what point you joined me, but when I say that the best form of exercise for your feet is walking, because it actually exercises the whole body, that is exactly what it means. All right. If you have nerve endings in your feet, and if you have more nerve endings per square centimeter in each foot than any other part of the body, then what does that tell you? What does that tell you? And I'm only talking about hand to foot contact, And I can only tell you from my own experience how I found the feet to be very, very beneficial, not only in using the human X-ray, which is your eyes, and you can tell what's going on with the feet, but also working on the feet. All right. So are there any, sorry.
I would just like to say that you can also pick up scar tissues when if an organ has been removed or injury, and you was asking what other things could be done with the feet. You can put those detox pad, or you can make up your own detox pads to put on the sole of the feet, as everyone knows they can do that as well.
Yeah. Are there any other questions, Charlene? I know that some questions have come up. Someone in Canada is asking if we can advise a therapist in Canada. From myself, no, I don't. But any other questions, please, Charlene or Sharon? Please.
About foot spa. Trying to find out. Actually, there's another one as well. Let me just. It's about foot spas from Simi. How often should we do a foot spa? And she was asking something else.
As often as you like. There's nothing wrong with the foot spa. The only thing you don't do is you leave your feet in the foot spa in a basin of hot water until it starts to get, wrinkly. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, Carol Humphrey, you've got a question. You want to ask it? One moment. Oh,
sorry. I can unmute. Yeah, sorry. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, sorry. Instead of typing, I just thought it was easier. Sarita mentioned about the pads, which I actually had one and I put at the bottom of my feet. Now, what I wanted to know, it does go black and there is a scent, like a toxin scent. Now, I wasn't sure if it was just a setup, because I have used it like it, because I couldn't believe that much toxin was coming out of my body, if you know what I mean. So I wasn't sure, are they really real? Is that where like toxins really come out of your body like that from the back of your feet? So when you see the dirt, not dirt, but you know what I mean, the darkness and the smell, I'm thinking, wow, does that really, it does really work then?
Sarita, do you want to answer?
Yes. Well, if you make your own pads, I don't really buy the Chinese ones out there, but bamboo is very good to use anyway, because it gives silica, but it does work, because people say that when they put an onion underneath the sole of their feet, you can taste it or got it in their mouth in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So, but I would make my own according to what I'm doing. So you can just buy tea bags that cleanse, and you can buy tea bags that work on the liver and the liver and the kidneys, and you'd have to know what is in the tea bags. But better still is if you make them yourself, then you know. I don't think they go as black as what the ones that you buy from the shop, but it does work.
Wow.
Because as Joan said, all the nerve endings, and it goes up. The nerve endings take it up.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
And that's why we're trying to educate people on the importance of the feet and the importance of the feet in therapy. Now, I know that there are many people that may be saying, oh, please, it's a load of rubbish, absolute rubbish. But actually, you're going to have a hard time convincing me that it's absolute rubbish. And I can assure you of that, because I experience it in massage therapies, and I can see how powerful the feet can be when you are massaging someone. And like I said, when someone had pain in their shoulder, in fact, this particular person didn't even tell me that they had pain in their shoulder. And I remember as I was massaging, I think I went from the right to the left foot, but then I went back to the right because I could feel something. And then if I say, oh, I felt something in the shoulder region of a foot, you're going to say, Joan's crazy. Absolutely not. Spiritual prophecy doesn't tell us that. But actually, I felt something like a knot. So when you're a massage therapist, you'll get used to feeling certain knots in the back of the, on the back, parts of the shoulder region. People may feel tense. And so you get used to feeling particular knots. And so it is with the feet. You start to feel tiny little specks. And I felt something. And when I touched it and pressed down on it, and I started massaging it away, and it was a definite slight rice grain or crystal. And when you start massaging it away, what you're doing, you're breaking it up, and it's being dissolved, and then it can go back into the body, and then it goes to one of the elimination organs and out. And I know that when I've started on the feet, I had someone just coughing and they couldn't stop coughing. And I says, are you all right? But that's a sign that they're totally toxic. When they start coughing a lot, it means they're toxic. Says, what's the matter? I'm feeling a lot of mucus is coming up. That means it's working. It means it's working. And it means that they need a detox. It may mean that they need another massage. Or they'll say, Joan, stop. I've got to go and use the toilet. Again, that's another indication. And I'm telling you, this is just through the feet. That's how powerful the feet are, because all of the nerves in the body ends in the feet. It ends in the feet. So why would you then think that the feet has no use whatsoever? And the only way you'll believe it is probably, I don't know, some superstar or someone that will say, actually, it's the best. We have to start understanding our body and the way it works, the way God gave it to us. And if God says all of the nerve endings end in the feet, or they've done their research, and the scientists, our body still baffles the scientists even to this day, if they can say that there are more nerve endings in each foot than any other part of the body per square centimeter, then you know how powerful the feet are. If the feet can tell you what's going on in your body, then you know the feet can do a whole lot more than that. All right.
Excuse me, Joan.
Any other questions? Yes.
Remember the conversation we had? I said I worked on somebody and they had phantom feelings in a leg that was amputated, and you told me, you can carry on with the bit what you told me about why they put on prosthesis on that.
So people may say, well, what happens to double amputees, and what happens to people who may have had a foot or leg removed because of diabetes? And do you know that there's something called phantom limb? They actually believe that the foot and the leg is still there based on the nerves, the nerve endings. And so the brain seems to make a record of that, and they believe that their foot is still there. But then those people who have prosthesis, may have to use false legs or false limb, especially the feet. It's important for them to make sure that they remain grounded, that they still connect their body to the earth even through that. And I know that there are some grounding mats, grounding patches and grounding materials that are available for people like that. So yeah, there is something called phantom limbs. but also if someone doesn't have, if they are not, they don't have feet. If they don't have feet, then you've got the rest of the body, and then you've got the hands. I hope that answers your question. I saw someone raise somebody.
Beverly had her hand up, and
Beverly,
I acknowledge that. But before we take Beverly's questions, there's lots of questions that have gone up in the chat beforehand. So there's been quite a few on reflexology and the caution between the caution with regards, is this the same as reflexology, what you're talking about? But even before you answer that one, there was a question saying, with regard to the foot spa, is that another form of grounding? Because if they live in a country with no beaches, or I don't know, maybe no grass.
It is.
Okay, and there was also, I commented about bare feet snow walking. I said, basically I was asking, is that healthy? I didn't actually put the question, is it healthy? But that's what I was meaning, because I know I've done that before for about a minute and it felt amazing after the initial shock. Is that something that was recommended because it's so cold?
Yeah, because it's like a hot and cold therapy, isn't it?
Great. Okay, and then another question came up about black toe, and that's reoccurred, that question. What about black toe?
Yeah, now if the black toe, if you've had an injury, then that can cause black toe. But also if you've got a black toe, particularly a black line in your toenail, then you need to kind of go and see a physician just to rule out any underlying issue.
Usually a black line is a disturbance of the endocrine system.
Thank you for that, Sarita.
Yeah.
Now, the person who says, is this the same as reflexology? If the person can actually explain what reflexology is, that would be great. The person who's asking the question, Sharon.
Yeah, so Ivan, I'm not sure if you're able to unmute, and there was a couple of people that asked on the issue.
Yeah.
But
so if they're asking that question, then they must know what reflexology is.
Let's
so
go back.
Explain. Yeah.
The person that actually mentioned reflexology wasn't Ivan. Like I said, there's a lot of comments. Yes, it was Ivan. So I don't know if Ivan's able to. Yeah, he's unmuted. I think he's in a noisy environment.
Yeah, I'm in kind of a noisy environment. Now, what I was asking is that, from my understanding, it's spiritualist roots, and that's kind of my concern about it.
What was that? Sorry.
Yeah, my house. Sorry, I'm quite in the wait. So,
sorry, help me.
Ivan, are you able to move to another location?
I need to go another place.
We can't hear you clearly.
Yeah.
In about 15 people on the
from my understanding, is which reflexology got spiritualist background. And that's kind of the only reason why I'm concerned about it. And that's kind of why I'm asking so many questions, because where I've come across it, it's had a lot of Eastern spiritualist links. So I'm wondering whether it's balanced with the biblical beliefs.
So what spiritual links does it have that you've heard of, Ivan?
It's almost like
things
like in terms of energy, different parts of your body having energies that bring healing, which are similar to Buddhist.
Yeah, I can only I can only talk from my experience. I never learned anything about spiritualism or energy or any of those things. I am just a plain massage therapist that can see the effects of good foot massage on my client. I don't know anything about any of the spiritual elements that you're mentioning, and I don't use it. I can categorically say that. Yeah.
Okay, no,
I think what we need to understand here is that when God creates something, he creates it perfectly, which is our body. And our body baffles even the scientists. And so what we have to be careful of is that there are always other elements out there that try to take away what God has given us and distort it. And if you do a lot of research out there, you'll realize that God has given us something which is a beautiful structure, but is also given us the art of massage. But then you'll have other elements that will try to bring in a dark area to it, and that throws everybody off. It throws everybody off, and that is not the case. That should not be the case. So I have to say, from my point of view, I am just a massage therapist that has seen the benefits of foot massage and full body massage on clients. That's all I can say. And they feel better afterwards. And I've not had to tap into any spiritual elements or stand away from them and just put my hands in the air and I'm not touching their body. I don't do any of those things. Mine is strictly hand to body contact. And I hope that answered your question, Ivan.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think you answered it fairly for Ivan and Jane also, who was also told that after some sessions, which she actually had, it was somebody she knows, possibly herself, had reflexology. Oh, she had it. But then she was told it wasn't for Christians. And she was also told that there was no new age thing associated with it. So, as you said, with all good things, there's going to be counterfeits. You know, the devil knows that he can use something good. And just because something can be used in a counterfeit way does not negate the fact that God has given us these fearfully and wonderfully made bodies. So I do see that point that someone else has made in the chat too.
Absolutely. It's almost as if, Sharon, when we're living in an age now where a lot of people believe in their heart that God cannot do anything for them and that their only relief will come from somebody else. Does that make sense? So only you know what's good for you, for your body. And many people, if we say as therapists and as medical missionaries will say, we know how to get rid of that cold, we know how to help to get rid of that virus, we know how to treat this ailment as long as it's not acute. As long as it's not acute, it's a dangerous situation. Some people will say, actually, I'd rather go to the ones who really know. And therefore they go. Because we're living in a time where we just cannot understand how something so simple, how simple as skin to skin contact can actually make someone feel better. And all it is using the hands and the therapeutic techniques, no energy, no praying to Buddha, no, you know, all of these other new age type things. It simply is praying before you do the therapy and skin to skin contact. And that's all we deal with, especially myself. And those who know me will know that. Let's stop allowing the enemy of our souls to steal away what God has given us, crumple it up and dash it on the ground. Let's stop doing that, because that is what is stopping many of us from seeking help when we need it from a naturopathic point of view.
There's quite a lot more in the chat. We'll take one more from the chat and then we can go to Beverly because she's been waiting for a long time.
Yeah, and I do see the comments and, regarding it's important that any therapy we do is with the word of God or aligned with the word of God. So I do see what you're saying there. And I know there's a lot of healing in the Bible.
Okay, so
I'd like to say that God will tell you, because I was doing acupuncture and one day I said, and it worked. And one day I said, let me ask God and see what he says. And it went to a passage that said it's witchcraft. And I went, what? And then I closed my Bible and I said, all right, it's not going to come. I put my finger away from that and it went to the exact same passage. So I had to throw away all my needles and everything. And I was just going, I can't believe it, because it works, but who's helping you? That's the thing. So if you are a Christian, then you're in doubt. You ask God and he will inform you if you're doing something against his laws. That's what I say. And as
Thank
far
you.
as, you know, that's what.
Carol Humphrey has her hand up, Sharon.
Yes.
Great. There was,
Yes.
before Carol, there
Oh,
was,
sorry.
there
Sorry.
was Guest whose question's gone in the chat, and then there was Beverly, and then we can look at some more questions and Carol. Guest put, what are the treatments holistically for contact dermatitis on the arch of the foot or possibly plantar keratosis?
Not going into any responses of
No.
natures. I'm sorry, I'm not. If they want to contact, personally, then that's fine, Sharon.
Okay,
But
that's fine.
we're not going to be talking about diagnosis and possible interventions.
Thank you
on-
for the
on
clarification.
Yeah.
And there was a question for your contact details. I'm not sure if you're able to share that or.
That's fine.
people to contact-
Shani can put I'm happy for my mobile number to go in there. It's perfectly fine.
Fantastic. Beverly, I believe, had a hand, and then Carol.
Hello.
Hi,
First
Beverly.
of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for such a wonderful presentation. It was very good indeed. My question is with regards to something that was mentioned earlier on around detoxing and massage. And we talked about, well, you talked about foot soaks and using the pads. Well, I actually purchased, I don't know if you can see this, for a detox. It's one of these, say it's natural foot pad. It comes like this. It's green at the moment, but as somebody said, they tried something similar to this and then it went black. And the idea is that it's drawing out the toxins from the body. Now, I've looked at reviews and a number of them have said that it's really a hoax, and that the sole of the feet haven't actually got sweat glands. It's got nerve endings, but not sweat glands, and therefore
Yeah, it has sweat glands.
Sorry?
No.
Yeah, well,
The feet has 250,000 sweat glands.
well, they're saying, well, that's part of what they reckon in the review to say that this was a load of rubbish. And so the other thing I was wondering is that one of the reasons why this probably goes black is some of them have charcoal in them. And so I just wanted to clarify with you, because you would perhaps know about these type of detoxing.
Yeah, I think it's Sarita that mentioned the patches on the feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it actually drawing out toxins from the body, or is it a reaction between the sweat and whatever? Because this is a bamboo one, and it's supposed to be a deep.
Oh yeah, that's Sarita then. Sarita, are you able to answer?
I believe that it's drawing out things from the body.
Okay.
Because that's why, like, the Russians, I think they were the first ones who started, as well as the Chinese, they put sliced onions at the sole of the feet, a little bit of garlic. I've done things like that to my grandson when he wasn't feeling well, and it cleared it up. You know,
Okay.
so I make it myself. I don't use those things, but I don't know.
Yeah. So when you say you make it yourself, are you talking like a proper detox for the system?
I make a detox pad myself and put it on the sole of my feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll put a question in the chat to see how we can move that one forward. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is it Sharon? Is it Carol or Shirley? And is it Carol?
Yeah, it's Carol. But before you speak, Carol, so I just want to say something before you speak. Is in terms of our feet, and Beverly just came on regarding the hoax and the and the pads. But when you think about it, our feet have the largest skin pores. So when we do our onion poultices and so forth, why are we doing it? So it must be doing something. So because it has the largest pores when it comes to our skin is for detoxing. So I would believe that when it comes to the feet, that it will be doing something detoxing.
Thank you, Shirley. You know, I completely forgot to say that. And the largest pores are on our feet, and all of the nerve endings end in our feet. So what does that tell you about our feet? I think what we all need to do, and I'm talking about everyone that's on this platform, and even people who, you know, they've heard everything out there about spiritualism and energy and the meridian line and all of those things. I didn't learn any of those things. All I can say is I know that God created our feet for a reason. And if your nerve endings end in the feet, if you have the largest pores in your feet, you cannot tell me that the feet has no use whatsoever, and we should not be using it in massage to massage anyone. That is like an oxymoron. It defies, for me, any normal way of thinking. Why? It's almost as if we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. If you've noticed in my presentation from the beginning, I've talked about the feet, I've talked about the anatomy of the feet, I've talked about the diseases that can be seen in the feet, and still there are people who are questioning whether we should even be doing any type of therapy on the feet. It defies it, or they're trying to draw it in to what the world sees it as. But I'm trying to tell you that God made us perfectly. God made this wonderful piece of machinery, and it's in the Bible. And we must never, ever doubt what this body can do. We can never, ever doubt it. And to know something as simple as the feet that we forget about, we just stand on it, we run on it, we sit down and plant it on the ground, we completely forget about it to the point where we sometimes forget to cream it, you know, clip our toenails and all of those things. And yet the feet holds so much information for us. So much information for us. And that's why I can only talk from my own experience.
Sorry, Carol.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm just going to add a few points as well. In fact, what Beverly was saying, it was a question which I asked earlier on, where I said, does those pads work? And I think that's when Sarita said about the bamboo, and then she makes it herself and everything. So yeah, just addressing that. Also, in regards to the reflexology of the foot and the spiritualism, I've heard that as well before. However, for me, I always pray for common sense and wisdom, I should say, and knowledge. Now, when you think about it, like if I sit down and I ask my husband, and this has been like, people do it all the time, oh, rub my feet, the relief you get, the especially when you're pregnant, like the relief you get, the how you feel in your body, it just really makes a difference. And in regards to the nerve ending and all that, if we think that there isn't, a lot of people who suffer with cold feet, we always say it's a lack of circulation. Now you think, why would that affect your feet if you've got lack of a circulation? So there must be nerve ending, etc., good health in regards to your feet. You know, that's what.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah, no worries. I was going to say that. Also,
go on.
Yeah, sorry. The last thing I was going to say, with you guys having that, what have you got? You got something that's on, in regards to health. Is it going away in August or something?
Oh yes, come apart and rest a while in August at Kefenly. We actually will be there as therapists. Yeah. There's going to be 4 of us, myself, Jackie Brown from Scotland, Arena from Scotland, who's part of Jackie Brown's ministry, and Kathleen will be there, and hopefully Diane will be, and we'll be there to offer massage.
Oh, because you
to the health guests.
Right, so you'll be doing feet reflexology and all that. Yeah.
I'm going to be doing
Massages. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yes.
Because I was offering myself as a guinea pig as well. I don't mind if
Well, you're going to be there, Carol.
well, if I come, I don't mind the example being done on my feet. So I'm just saying.
No, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Carol. I think the word reflexology has been thrown around, but what does reflexology mean? It means the study of the reflexes. That is exactly what it means. But what has happened is the adversary has thrown in so many other things. It's just a study of the reflexes. It doesn't make sense. So, oh my gosh, Joan Cornwall is talking about reflexology. That means she must be tapping into the meridian lines and the aura, and she might be into the spiritualism, and then stands at the door before she enters the room, and she just puts her hand over the person, and she's just trying to gather energy into the person. Joan Cornwall has never done that. Never.
You can pray.
Hand,
you pray with the person when you
pray with the person,
Mm.
hand to skin contact, massage. If I find a crystal in their foot, I will massage it away. If they say they have an ailment, I can try to pinpoint that on the base of the foot. There was actually a study done in Spain. The name escapes me. His name was Jesus. The name beginning with his surname beginning with M. And he actually did a biopsy. He did a biopsy on the feet. He did a biopsy on the feet of some of the volunteers. What he found was those who had little crystals, and he called it uric acid crystal deposits, they come up as little crystals in the base of the feet. When he found, so there were some that didn't have it, and there were some who had it. And he says those who had it, it seemed as if it was causing a congestion at the nerve ending of a particular organ in the body. And when that crystal was massaged away and broken up, it went back into the bloodstream and was eliminated through the organs of elimination. So he did a biopsy on that. We will have crystal deposit. You know, some of us may have frazzled nerves. We suffer from things like fibromyalgia, all of those things. It just means your nerves have become frazzled, and some of us may have some of these tiny crystal-like deposits. There's nothing wrong with the deposits. I showed in one of my slides that when you have gout, that's uric acid crystals. When you have you can have crystal-like deposits in your joints. It just means that you might be congested. A massage therapy, what it does, it actually can decongest and detox your body. It can actually do that. Your lymphatic system will start to be drained, which is why I explained how it happens. I've got stomachache, I want to cough, mucus is coming up, journal want to poo, I'm feeling tingling in my body, I've got a headache. All of those things are signs that that person has a congestion in their body. That's all it means. And that's why I'm saying that it has nothing to do with anything else except the way I was trained. And the way I was trained was in simple foot massage at advanced level that tells me to understand that the feet that contain more nerve endings per square centimeter than any other part of the body contains the largest pores on the body, that I can use those feet and massage them, and by the grace of God, help someone feel a whole lot better than when they went on that table. That's it.
Yeah, and it
Is that simple? That's very simple, isn't it? Very, very simple.
I was going to just, my last word, I was just going to say that it brings about a state of relaxation as well, you know, and it helps the body's healing progress. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Sharon, Shirlene.
Okay, there is another one.
Go on.
But what we'll do, we'll just go for another 5 minutes of questions.
Yes, I think so.
To wrap up.
Yeah, because I want people to go out on this sunny day and at least take their socks or their tights off and connect to the ground for at least 5 minutes and then put them back on again.
That's it, with the ground. So please forgive me if I've missed any. Oh, actually, I did somebody. It was foot massage machines. What did you
Oh,
say?
yeah.
Massage machine, and then
That was from Paul. Was that from
Yes.
Paul?
Yeah, from Paul.
Yeah, sorry, Paul. I totally forgot to get into that. Any type of machinery is a no-no for me. I wouldn't use a machine. Why would, I mean, I know some people can't get to a massage therapist. Maybe they can't get to them. Maybe it's not available, or there's other reasons why. But I wouldn't use a machine. You see the importance. Okay, if I'm going to use the word of God here, the Bible, and excuse me if there are people who are of no faith, but I can only do that because I'm of faith. And so if I go to the Bible, and when I look at every single healing act that took place, there had to be some sort of a contact, person-to-person contact, skin-to-person contact. A machine does not work the same way. And we have to be careful. We're living in an age now where they've got robots that can massage you. You know, you can buy any equipment to say you're massaging yourself. It's about the skin. It's the warmth of the hand. That's another thing. It's about the warmth of the hand, which also have nerve receptors. And that is what helps with soothing somebody. That is what it does. A machine will never, ever take the place of a human being, although unfortunately, we're living at a time when a lot of machines are taking the place of human beings. And I would say, if you have a good massage therapist, you know, value them, because they are using the oldest and most ancient method, which is the laying hands on you.
Thank you. And there's another question from Lisa. What relation or relief? What relation or relief would a foot massage give to someone who has strained her back or caused a slip disc by heavy or wrong lifting?
The foot massage, no. But what they can do is apply heat. But I'd say I wouldn't be going to any diagnosis or anything like that on a public platform. So if my number's in the chat, if she or he wants to give me a call, that's perfectly fine. But there are other ways of relieving back issues, and a lot of it involves heat therapy mixed in with massage therapy, a different type of massage for that.
Okay, and then there's two here. Dina says, happy Sabbath, Sister Joan and Brethrens. Question, is it medicinal to stand barefoot outside on the dirt to get healing to our bodies? And that'd be what you said in terms
Therapeutic.
of grounding.
Yeah, grounding. It's therapeutic. You don't have to run barefoot all the time, you know. All of a sudden you go to work and he says, I'm not wearing my shoes anymore, type of thing. It's not like that. What I am saying is that you do it from time to time. In today's society, what has happened is many of us are living more away from the green areas, or the green areas within the environment that we're in. It has become much smaller. We may not have access to rivers or the seaside or the sand. And what happens is God created us to see green. God created our eyes to see green. Babies, when they're born, they recognize green. Green, the green trees, the green grass, the plants, etc. And so it's important for us to be able to be, get out there and try to ground ourselves in some way. And like I said before, many of us, when we go on holiday, this is what happens. Oh, I've got 2 weeks booked. I'm going on holiday. I can't wait. I'm going to go on the beach. I'm going to walk barefoot on the beach. I'm going to go in the water. I'm going to dunk in the water. And then by the time they come back, they says, wow, that was an amazing time. I had an amazing trip. I feel so much better. The arthritic pain I had, the sun seemed to have helped. And really what you're explaining is something that you could easily do even at home. What you did, you grounded yourself. You grounded yourself by walking barefoot in the sand, or maybe you exposed your feet to the grass. Some of us may do gardening, get the dirt under your nails. It's normal. The body recognizes that. And it's like, it just makes you alive when you do that. That's all it is. You know, we wait a whole year before we go on holiday to enjoy it, but you can enjoy it. Even in the UK, you can enjoy that. You know, go to a green area, go for walks among the trees. How many times have we done that? So we feel so much better. Taking your shoes off, nothing wrong with that. Even if it's just for 5 minutes and stay connected, you feel so much better. And I know I've experienced that and I feel so much better. Grounding is good to do. And like I said, if you don't have access to all of those things I've just mentioned, try to have a bath at least once a week with Epsom salts. Try to do that because that's a type of grounding. Grounding not on asphalt and not on astroturf, not pavements. That's not grounding. I'm talking about where there are trees. I'm talking about where there's grass, where there's rockery or sea or river. That is where you feel the grounding.
Okay, thank
Proper
you.
grounding.
Thank you. And also, Simi is asking, do you offer any services in London for foot massage?
Sarita's based in London. Sorry, Sarita.
Yes. Well, I'll give out my number later, and we can talk, and then they can decide whether they'd like to come or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarita. That'll be good. Yes, please. But what you were just saying, Mom, about about the walking on the ground, someone's asking, it said that you can get parasites to habitually walk on grass in cities. So is it true?
Well, I don't know about that. I know for sure that, you know, there's a lot of dog walking in certain parks now, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the dog poo may contain the parasites. I do know also that if you are where it is safe to do so, then do it. Like I said before, you don't want that to be a reason for stopping yourself from grounding. Find a nice clean area to ground yourself. I know, and like I said before, when I mentioned the city, if you're living in a city, I know there are some green areas, but if you have, you know, access to a bathtub, if you have access to a basin where you can put your feet in it and salt, that's a form of grounding. So I would try that as well.
One thing about the feet.
You build your immune system, by the way. Did you know that when you ground yourself, you're getting rid of a lot of the free radicals that are in your body? And free radicals actually cause disease. So you create an antioxidant type of effect when you actually put your, you know, ground yourself on the ground, not day and night. I'm not talking about that. That's someone saying, what are you doing out here? I'm grounding and it's midnight. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about just for a few minutes, just do that. And you will find that it will help, you know, get rid of a lot of the free radicals in your body, because because we're exposed to a lot of things that are like electromagnetic fields, then what we're finding is that we're actually absorbing a lot of the radiation from those machinery. And it's important to ground. I'm not sure what you're finding so funny, Shirley. Okay, so
sorry.
No, no, it's not. Sharon, or any other question for myself?
There is. No. Oh, that was it. That was what I was going to say. Regarding bare feet on the ground, when you in the morning when you have the dew, and thank you, Sharon, for saying that. It's very nice to walk barefoot.
Thank you.
I've done it a few times.
Oh my goodness, you are so right. And that's pure distilled water you are placing your feet in. So if you're lucky enough to have greenery and there's the dew, put your feet on the dew. You are actually absorbing beautiful, pure distilled water at the base of your feet. And if your pores, the largest pores are on the bottom of your feet, your body will thank you for it. Your body will thank you for it. Any other? I know that said 5 minutes. You know, we can go on for a long time, but you know something, everyone, you know, from my point of view, thanks for listening, because I have to put to bed a lot of the things that is being said about something that is so natural and so simple that has been hijacked by the adversary. And so it puts many people off from experiencing something so beautiful and so simple that can bring relief. So Rita, have you got any closing remarks? Please.
Not really. I agree with everything you said, really, to tell you the truth. So I personally don't believe that working on the feet affects anything like devil worship or anything like that. Or we don't know when we go to doctors.
Thank you.
Yes, you know, I listened to a talk from an Adventist doctor, and he was at a seminar, and he mentioned that they were talking about spirits that help them, and they were saying, before they prescribe medicine, some of them were saying they asked the spirit what should they do, and he said, you know, it could be demons, and all hell let loose at that seminar. So you don't know who you're going to see, who's working on you. You don't know anything.
Thank you. And that's so vitally important, people. I am telling you, it is so vitally important that God has given us remedies that heaven approves of. Only one remedy that God approves of. And I'm telling you, you do not know who you're placing your life in the hands of, because we are living in a world that is full of some terrible, terrible, I should say, demons in the form of people, and they do not have your best interest at heart. But you will never know that. You will never know that. Your first port of call is about prayer, and it's about God's natural remedies. In acute situations, by all means, go and find out what is taking place. Absolutely. But do not depend on someone else to look after you. Do not do that. You try to take control of your own health. You yourself will know. But I'm telling you, there are people out there, you just don't know what they worship and who they worship. But one thing is absolutely absolutely certain from Joan Cornwall's point of view, that when I came into the therapist, I said, God, lead me. And I'm telling you, I've been practicing since 2017. And I am telling you, it's all about the Lord God Almighty as far as I'm concerned, and my responsibility for anyone that comes before me, that they understand that, and that they will feel relief after I have dealt with them from a God-given gift point of view. And please, 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 when we describe the body, and I described this at the beginning, when I gave you all of the anatomy of the foot, when I talk about the nerves that are based in the foot, when I talk about the 7,200 nerve endings in your feet, it starts from the brain all the way down to our feet, right to our toes. There are 2 nerves per toe. When I tell you all of that, and the largest pores on the body is the feet, when I tell you there are 250,000 sweat glands on the feet, when I tell you that you can tell what is taking place with somebody's body in terms of medical condition just by looking at the feet, if I give you all of that and then you're still doubtful, someone has done you wrong. That's all I can say. Somebody somewhere has done you wrong. Use your human x-rays, look at the feet, see what's going on, ask them questions, see if you can bring some relief, or at least point them in the right direction. But please, please do not let the adversary tell you that you should not get relief from a foot massage because it belongs to the adversary. Never, ever do that. God gave us this, and it's been hijacked. It's been hijacked.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mom.
You can say
Sarita.
It's a pleasure, sorry.
Thank you. I'm thinking, shall I say Mummy Joan? Thank you so much for your presentation, for both of you, for the double act, and to enlightening us when it comes to our feet. And not to be shy nor
apprehensive.
Moving away from your feet, because your feet's still a part of your body. It's still a part of your body. So, and I know when I have my feet massaged, it feels like I've done a body massage. It feels amazing.
Absolutely, and that is correct, Shirley. When you have cancer patients, right, you're not allowed to give them a full body massage. What you can do is give them a foot massage. And when you do a foot massage on someone who can't have a full body massage, for example, cancer patients, they still fall asleep. They still feel as if their whole body system was massaged. Can someone please answer that question for me? How is that possible? Why? Because I've already told you. Our feet have all nerve endings. All nerves end at the feet. And therefore, you are tapping into the whole body through the feet.
Amen.
If I've massaged the foot, why is somebody wanting to pee? You know? Why did they get cramping in the stomach? Why did they get a headache?
Yeah.
Go figure. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And I pray
thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you everyone for listening. The presentation is accessible on YouTube. Absolutely. Thank you, Joan. Yes, I pray it was informative. And I can only be as real as I can be. I don't have any props. I have nothing more to offer you except me, and that's it. And I've been as honest and truthful as possible. And if someone can tell me different, then please do. But I know where I'm coming from. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure because Ashante's got her hand up.
Okay.
Oh, and any okay. So Sharon is saying that any unanswered questions, if you're on our Telegram group, please you can share it on there if you choose to, because Joan is on the Telegram group, and we're happy to answer it on there. But you're very welcome, everyone. Ashante, you do have your hand
yes,
up.
Ashante. Thank you everyone for your lovely messages. Thank you.
Okay, based on what Joan has just said, is there any reason why you're not allowed to give cancer patients a full body massage?
Yes, because what is happening is that when you generally massage someone, you are you're improving their circulation. You're draining their. Hello.
So you're cutting out a little.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You are what you're actually doing when you give someone a full body massage. They're getting a full circulation. You're tapping into their lymphatic system, and so therefore there's a small chance that you can spread their cancer. That's why. That's why you're not allowed to. There's a small chance you can actually spread their cancer, but through the feet, when you massage them, they can get relief from the feet.
Okay.
It will not have the same effect as in a full body massage. You're rubbing them. You're rubbing their skin, and all of that. But in the foot, you're not doing as much of that work, and that's why. And so I know the NHS, they approve of foot massage for their cancer patients. It's on their website. Yeah. Rather than full body.
What does it do with the cancer, giving the foot massage?
I can't say what it does for the cancer. What it does is relieve the patient. It relieves the client. It just gives them a general feeling of relief. That's what it does, and calmness.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashante, for your question, though. So we're going to wrap up.
Can I just say something, Shirley?
Yeah, go on, Edgar.
Hi, Joan.
Hi, Edgar.
Now, I've not had a foot massage per se, but I have had a massage. And I'm just kind of saying, well, there must be common sense in what you're saying. Because when I had my massage, and I felt kind of good, and I felt relaxed. And then the next thing I heard was, you need to wake up now. Because you just feel so, I don't know, you just feel so relaxed.
Yeah, rested, relaxed, rejuvenated. Some people feel as if they're walking on air. And that's exactly what it does. In fact, I always say to people, do not have a massage and then you got to drive yourself home. You have to wait at least a couple of hours or so, because you're so relaxed and feel sleepy. So yeah, that's exactly what a massage does. And thanks for raising that. Edgar.
So I'm saying that to say that how can you disconnect your feet from having a massage? You with me? It
makes no sense. It makes no sense. And equally, equally, the adversary is trying to take credit for what God has given us by saying they can, you can tap into energies and all of that. That's absolute foolishness. I'm sorry, it is. It literally is skilled hand to skin contact. That's all it is. One of the most simplest methods. The hands were used extensively throughout the Bible as a tool for healing. And why not now? There is nothing, absolutely nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
It's a blessing that we should tap into.
I'm glad we're having the conversation.
It's very natural. Very natural.
Yeah.
It's very simple. And God wants us to use it.
Amen. Thank you.
And it's a remedy from heaven. Amen.
It's a remedy from heaven. Yeah. Just the child of God with their hands. That is it. And that's how it was used in the Bible, along with other herbal remedies like charcoal, the sea, so clay. Jesus always rested his hands on the person. Always. Okay, lovely. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shirley. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And thanks, Sarita, so much for joining me. And God bless you all. So I'm going to go now, Shirley.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarita. Thank you, TTI.
Thank you.
Lovely.
You're very welcome. And don't forget, if you want to come to Keffinley in August, it's on our webpage. But you'll also see it on our YouTube channel as well.
Brilliant.
So please share as well with your church family, your friends.
Yes, will do. Thank you.
It'll be a good one. Thank you, Carol.
So much. Thank you.
And enjoy the sunshine. Go and ground your feet.
And what is your web page?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is your web page, please?
It's TT International. I'll put it in the chat, but it's ttinternational.org.
Lovely, thank you.
Oh, and let me just say good. Thank you, YouTube family, as well. Thank you for joining us. And we pray as a team and presenters and everyone that you